You can do this from anywhere in the world, can't you?
Yes, absolutely.
So you're saying sometimes, I'm just going behind the camera a little bit. You was in Trinidad doing some work at some times. We actually had to postpone this meeting, this interview, because somebody in this room was in England and they were flying in late, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
Flight was delayed.
Flight was delayed because
Yeah.
so you was in England. Yeah, we're revealing it was her, and it was. And you're able to do your work without missing a step, with the queen out there.
The Fulltime Bosscast.
To the Fulltime Bosscast.
Navigating the journey from a 9-to-5 to full-time entrepreneurship with your hosts, Ryan the Boss and Lady Shay. Presented by Morningstar Printing, where we print pretty much everything.
Welcome to the Fulltime Bosscast. Hello. This is your host, Ryan the Boss, and I am here with
Lady Shay.
Throw it over to her. You know it. Thank you for watching. This episode is sponsored by Morningstar Printing, where we print everything. So before we get this party started, please like, subscribe, comment. It really helps the algorithm. Watch the whole video, all that good stuff, please. All right. So, Lady Shay, you good?
I'm good.
You
How
are good.
Doing?
I'm good. Good. We have someone just sitting here nice and silent right now as me and you are bantering right now. She is our our guest for the, and I said host like she's taking over. She is our guest for today, Sasha. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming here today, and thank you for being with us here in our comfy couches here at the Photo Video Studio in Toronto. All right. So even though you're here, it's our tradition. I say this every week now. If you people who've been watching, thank you. I don't really get into what you do. I don't give you no big introduction. I'm just like, yo, this is Sasha. You see her here. Please tell the people what you do.
Well, I am a serial entrepreneur, really, but what I mainly do right now is I direct my own virtual assistant company, and it's been a crazy, crazy journey during the pandemic. And my specific role right now is to essentially project manage everything in life right now, along with my business. So I'm a student, I'm getting my paralegal license, planning to go to law school, as well as trying to be a mother and balance that all with the business and everything else that comes with it. So I really just feel like if I was to place, a title on myself, it would be ridiculous to do that because things keep popping up, and in the world of entrepreneurship, it's you're never wearing one hat. So,
So you're like just a boss of many things, boss of many hats.
It seems that way, and I'm okay with accepting that now. I know that I keep building with my skills, so I'm good with that.
So let's delve into this a little more then. So you mentioned the virtual assistant, because that's how I know you, one of your main things. What does that encompass as far as virtually assisting for those who are not really aware what virtually assisting is?
Well, essentially what a virtual assistant is just somebody who, embodies a skill or has a skill, could be a technical skill, that they do remotely. So from anywhere in the world, you can hire somebody that, say, is a graphic designer in, Indonesia, and they're virtually assisting you. So essentially what it will look like is I hire you, you're a contractor essentially, and you have a skill. I need something done. I pay you to do that. There's a whole bunch of different ways to get into how the service is provided, but that's essentially what it is. Someone who provides a service remotely and assists you with whatever business endeavor you're moving with.
So you broker the relationship between somebody who needs assisting and somebody who has the skill to assist.
Essentially, yes.
Because you're not the assistant yourself. You just connect people, your business connecting people.
Well, on the virtual assisting side, I have different departments. So my background is in law. So I've worked at the courts for over 13, 14 years, and I was a law clerk mainly and a court clerk. So I was doing law clerking or remote law clerk services before.
Okay.
So I mainly, the virtual assisting part from me comes with law clerking remotely. So I
Okay.
work with law firms in Toronto or, in Canada, because that's the law I know. So I'll do maybe drafting abroad. If it's US or another country, I'll do, very basic foundational things.
Yeah.
But I'll do that part myself, and then the broker part of it, where I connect businesses with virtual assistants. That's essentially how it is, and I project manage everything.
Okay.
So essentially, you're like the middleman, like a virtual middle person, right? So like if I need something that done, like is there some stuff you don't do? Like say if I need an essay written, or I need I don't know, a inventory of my supplies or something like that. As long as it can be done virtually, you can find it.
Essentially, yes. Anything admin that needs to be done. My team is so skillful. Like I'm never shocked when they're like, yes, I can do it. So if somebody has, say inventory, or they've been in the fashion industry and they need to do merchandising, like on paper, these are types of skills that people have. People like, when you're young, you're working in retail, these types of things and types of skills just grow with you. So any administrative work that needs to be done, it can be done.
So like social media, for instance. So say if I have like an Instagram account, Morningstar Printing, and I just get overwhelmed and I'm just like, yo, I can't be posting all this. I can't be doing this. I can't be running Fulltime Boss. I can't be doing this. I can just say, hey, Sasha, can you do this for me, please?
Right.
And you have people who can do that too?
Yes. So social media management is like a bigger thing. There's a level of top tier services for virtual assistants. So right now it would be social media management would be number one, because that's how people are getting their clients. And then there would be administrative assisting, where it's just everyday office work, where you're drafting, maybe answering calls remotely as well, things like that. So just think about a administrative assistant that you would just hire. They have no experience in your line of work or your area, but they just need to assist you. People can do it from home.
This is mind blowing. Are you aware of this stuff?
I mean, no, but I guess still have so many questions, because like the sky is probably
that's what I'm saying.
the
Everything
limit. Like you could probably have anybody do anything as long as it can be done virtually.
Right. If you have, say you have a company that has a system, you need access to that person's system or a corporation system.
Yeah.
If you have to give access to someone, of course, security checks and all that stuff, background. It's the same thing as you hiring somebody who, like I mentioned earlier, does graphic design from afar.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. If you're able to access me online, there's no obstacle here. There's no barrier in creating some sort of economic, solution to what's going on.
So you mentioned like a security check, for example. Let's suppose you have somebody that needs to hire somebody and they have to go do a security check. Do you do that too? Like, do you vet all the people that come in? Or
well, I focus on Canadian because I know how to do CPIC checks and things like that. But that is what needs to be done with most of the companies. So for example, the people I hire on, they're in different countries. So I have to make sure that the way that they do their security check, I'm aware of it. One, so I have to be knowledgeable about what's going on. Yeah. And then I have to make sure that those pieces of protocol are followed before they come on. Yeah. And of course, other companies will need that as well. So I would get, hey, Ryan, do you want to hire somebody? Sasha, I need them to be in, say, Bahamas. They have a different way of doing it. So if you're aware of it, you just tell me how it works.
You find the people in Bahamas.
And it gets it done.
Woo!
Right.
So just piggybacking on that, you can do this from anywhere in the world, can't you?
Yes, absolutely.
So you're saying sometimes, I'm just going behind the camera a little bit. You was in Trinidad doing some work at some times. We actually had to postpone this interview, because somebody in this room was in England and they were flying in late, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
Flight was delayed.
because so you was in England. Yeah, we're revealing it was her, and it was. And you're able to do your work without missing a step, with the queen out there.
And it was great that the time was ahead too. So it's like I I already planned the trip before because I had my daughter with me. So we wanted to sightsee, do all the cheesy tourist stuff. So because we were 5 hours ahead, it was awesome to be able to do what we wanted. And then I literally sat down to work.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's all about the balance. And that's what I'm finding out, that
That's crazy.
it's all possible. If people, there's
Anywhere
CEOs,
in the world.
there's CEOs in the world that
Anywhere
have
in the
never
world.
touched their company. They don't go to their company physically. And if they do, it's just when they
So
open
why
it.
can't us?
Why can't
we?
Why can't
Us? We?
Yeah.
We? Us? Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Right.
I want to know, like, how did you even get into this field? Because it's a very new, and I guess there's a lot of, the digital era or the internet, whatever they call it nowadays. Everything is online now. But how did you actually pinpoint this need in that type of market and start?
Like, how did you start?
How
Like,
did you get there?
Because this is for, I'm asking, I'm just giving the precursors that because some people are watching, they're looking to jump into different businesses, right? Like, and you're coming from a job, like you used to work at the courts, whatever. How did you make that transition? Like, what?
Yeah.
Tell us that story, please.
Well, the pandemic would have forced many of us to figure it out. So literally 3 days after the pandemic was announced, my boss called and literally fired 80% of the firm.
Wow.
Like no blinking. He didn't
Wow.
even wait to see, what
What's-
the...
yeah.
We're not even gonna
what
but
the-
what if it's not that
Yeah,
long?
but
No,
what
no,
if it's
yeah.
not that serious,
Wow.
sir? Like, he didn't even blink about it. But that's what happened. And I had to figure it out. Literally just had to figure it out. And I am no stranger to new starts. And I was a single mother the entire time I've been raising my daughter. So I had to always figure it out. So that was not new to me. But I mean, making the money was difficult because the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
So I literally locked myself away. I was, yes, in my apartment, nobody could leave, but I had to lock my mind away, let's say, figure out, just kind of block out the world, no social media, all that type of stuff, figure out how can I get these services out to people because they still need it.
Yeah.
Businesses still need to run.
Yeah.
And it's just like the food industry. People always need to eat.
Yeah.
So law for me, it's always going. People are always going to get in trouble. I was in criminal law. So people are always going to get in trouble. People will always want to, be or litigate. People are always in court. So the first thought I had was, how can I do the same thing I was doing at the law firm from home? And we were working remotely a week before that. So our boss already figured it out, but didn't want the longevity of that. So I just said to myself, how am I going to do this? And how am I going to boss it? How am I going to run it? I'm not partnering with anyone. I'm not calling
So you
another
saw
law
you
firm.
saw a need or a need and created a opportunity. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. So when I seen that the world was shutting down, I'm like, okay, these lawyers are probably freaking out. How am I going to get work done? I don't have the funding now from my firm. How am I going to just get, one-offs done? How am I going to get filing, drafting, these types of very basic things just to kickstart a case? And then I literally reached out to the network that I did have in my admin network. And I said, listen, I'm doing this from home. Share this with the lawyers. And it actually worked. It actually worked. And I was very shocked that it worked so quickly. And I was already, close with the lawyers I was working with. And I was already their clerk. They knew my style.
Yeah.
They knew that I knew what they needed and things like that. So they were more than willing to say, hey, okay, I just need you to do maybe a couple hours a week. That was good enough for me.
Yeah.
That was opening up the network.
Yeah.
So I was okay with that. And then when I connect and say, I'm going to connect the dots here. What else do you need? Things like courier services or filing.
So you just expanded.
Yes.
As long as you
started
can,
adding, if I could do
if
it.
you can find somebody, you just got to find a reputable person, someone you trust. And wow. So real brokering, but you're like a power broker of
I didn't even see it that way. I'm like, I got to eat.
Yeah.
Straight up. I'm like, I got to
Straight
eat.
up.
That's how a lot of
Straight
great
up.
businesses are born.
You gotta eat. and now you eating.
out of necessity.
Right.
Now you eating. Business is going good.
You eating
It's
in London.
excellent. Yes.
Yeah, you eating in London.
That was
fish
nice.
and chips.
I won't lie.
Tea
That
and
was
crumpets out there. Talio, you know what I mean? So, as you mentioned before, you're in Trinidad. You're here and you're there. You mentioned that you have a daughter. You're a single mother. You're a single mother. How did that present a difficulty because you're doing this thing here and getting it off the ground with no real certainty of how money's going to come in? You have a great idea, but the money's not there yet. How did you navigate that? How did you prepare for that transition with being a single mother, being, from getting a consistent income to now being a boss? Like, you want to tell us that story?
Well, I wanted to like kind of compare what it would look like if I had a consistent client, like multiple clients or a couple of consistent clients. So I was reading a lot of magazines and figuring out like, what does the digital online space look like right now? And how do people kind of fill the gap in between?
Yeah.
So because my expenses were not high because I wasn't going to work and doing all these things, I was trying to manage that as best way I can. I was penny pinching. I was, because, my daughter's at home, she's doing homeschool now. I don't have to worry about the cost of travel.
Yeah.
So COVID essentially kind of helped.
It literally did. As much as it was terrible for lots of people.
Yeah.
I literally looked at it as the biggest opportunity possible because my mind would never have went to remote work at all. I would have said maybe I could do that on a part-time basis, and if I get work, I get work. But now it was forcing the world to figure it out. Figure out your digital space right now.
Pivot, yeah.
If you don't want to keep making money, then you're just going to close. Like that's literally what the world was faced with. So I legit just figured it out. I'm like, if it's not working like this, it'll work like this. So I was reading the Entrepreneur magazine, the latest copy. They had an article talking about 6 different ways to handle no. So my 2 favorite were no as a status quo and no as a gift. So the status quo was to use it as an opportunity.
That's deep right
I need to figure out ways that I can use this to my advantage. And then the gift is that it's giving me a gift to figure out the best ways that it would work and support me, but also for me to close that door and open up another, right? Yeah.
Wow. So there was a point there. Did you face any type of difficulties? Because it seems like it was almost a smooth transition. Was there any difficulties or any pits that you faced on this journey?
The consistency of clients, I was scared of that at the beginning, just because the legal fields, they need to trust you.
Yeah.
And you're at home.
Isn't there liability and stuff like that? Because especially with dealing with
so you have to make sure insurance was immediate. So you have to make sure that any type of information, any digital information, or anybody that's in the tech industry knows that the intricacies of like encryption and things like that of information and all that good stuff, that needs to be taken care of right off the bat, and you have to get people to trust you. Is really what it is. So I was facing difficulty with that at first. I had imposter syndrome to the fullest. I did not feel like I should sit at any tables with my white superiors, let's say, or reach out to any other race but mine. I didn't like that. I didn't like that I was feeling like that. And
because sorry to interrupt you, but as a Black woman, that's not common. Like, you get what I'm saying? You don't really see it like in that realm that the same thing you were talking about, right? So you had to like really, like you said, the imposter syndrome, even though you know that you can do what everyone is doing, maybe even better. You know what I mean? Sorry, but
I appreciate that. No, I really believe that whatever I was doing, people just seen this Black girl in their white space. And I was working in law firms with just white spaces and maybe a Indian guy here and there. But
shout out to my Indian people.
Right. So I was really feeling that it was such an ailment for me, and what spaces would I actually push my services into. But I was finding that was an early difficulty. And then I was blessed with getting a corporate client immediately, like in the first 3-4 months of business. But I wasn't sure how to handle or manage the calls that I was getting and all of that. I was like, okay, this is doing
almost learning on the fly.
Yeah, literally. Wow. So I already knew how to run a business, but I'm like, I don't know and understand how to manage a whole team and do all these things. So it literally just came with it. And I had a very transparent conversation with my client. I'm like, listen, I'm a small business. You guys are taking a chance on me, and I appreciate that.
That's a blessing.
I also have to make you aware that these are certain things that we don't have together yet, but we're going to build it with you. Because you're building as well. And we're never going to put you in a space where, you're, oh my God, what just happened and things blow up, but we'll learn along with you. You
would say that they're a little bit more understanding, especially due to the pandemic going on, everything happening, and you come, that's good.
So is that what helped you sort of get over the imposter syndrome? Like,
it was still living, I feel, for the first 6 months in business.
Okay.
Because I wanted to speak speak in existent a lot of corporate spaces.
Yeah.
I wanted to say I'm worthy enough to go into a corporate space and be like, I'll be a consultant for you for a couple hours a week, or you just come to me when you need some specialization in this.
Yeah.
And I found that my skills were building in terms of tech support.
Mm-hmm.
That is where my business has gone.
Okay.
I have some talented people, and I didn't meet my team until a year after. And my team has been the most amazing group of people. Mm-hmm. And when we actually met in person, it was like a family. Like it was awesome to be able to grow that kind of community together.
Yeah.
And I've never met any of my clients in person, not one, but I've had them in business for 2 years.
Wow.
So these are things and opportunities that you'll have when you're working remotely.
Yeah.
You're meeting so many people, and you don't have to meet people in person in order to create a bond, but it's a good addition to business relationships because the accessibility is there.
Yeah.
Right.
So are your clients like all over the world or mostly in Canada?
That's what it's moving towards.
Okay.
So what we recently did was open an office in Trinidad. So it's officially open. We registered. We're good.
Trinidad.
Yeah, no, we're excited. So
you have you have an office in Trinidad.
Yes.
Oh,
So
wow,
before we had a remote office, so kind of like the office spaces or the virtual office spaces.
Yeah.
So that's what we essentially had working out of the Regis space. Regis is also here, co-working space.
Yeah.
So we had that first, and we had a space where people can come meet us because the Caribbean people want to see you in front of your face.
Yeah.
Like
it's a different
I want to.
demographic.
I want to know who you are.
Yeah.
So what we were faced with, unfortunately, is that people just want to know we actually are real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you know what? If I'm going to invest my money anywhere, I'm going to, my staff is mainly there. So I said, I'm going to invest it in an office space. It doesn't have to be this extravagant, fancy office, but we were blessed to get one.
Yeah.
But our money here is long there.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to.
It stretches.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to, step into a space where it's convenient for everyone that lives there, but also gives me an opportunity to connect with the people there too.
Yeah.
So the main thought for Trinidad is tech support.
Okay.
So because people are so new to it, we're kind of like strong arming people to get used to it now. Because things are very manual in the Caribbean, but cool.
Okay, so with all that being said, you're coming from humble beginnings. You're from not too far from where I live in Scarborough, East Side. What up? How did that help you? And you being and you mentioned that you're a single mother. I'll let you go into that a little bit too. But how did the upbringing and the child, how did that help your journey to where you are starting the business and going where you're at now?
Well, I had her young, as I was 19 when I had her, and it really forced me to sit still and figure out what the future actually would look like. So I was trying to run away myself from not having what I had. So I had a single mom as well. And it really just didn't speak to the person that I was. I was a very creative person and wanted to, I was singing, dancing, doing all of these things when I was young. And I seen that, I knew that my child would probably have some sort of creativity in them as well. And I wanted to speak into that, speak life into it. And my mom was single mom from Jamaica. She came fresh way before, I was born. But my sister was about 4 years older than me. We grew up in Scarborough, and
Eastside, what up?
We went and were around a lot of the main things everybody knew. So it felt like we were publicly growing up. It felt like around the time I grew up was like the dance era. There was so many dance groups and all these things going on, and it felt like I was always in the mix. And I didn't actually sit still to focus on my schoolwork, do all of these things that I was supposed to be doing. And I feel like I could have made way better choices in feeding into my future. And when I had my daughter, it forced me to see the mistakes I made and how that ailed me from, just living the regular life, going to college. And I didn't graduate high school. And that was a very tough thing for me to tell my child later on. And my mom didn't even know. So
hold up. Just to rewind on that, you didn't graduate high school, yet you are running a business, servicing lawyers, helping them, of major companies doing what you do, and you didn't finish high school. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because some people need to hear that, because some people, it's not always the road to success is not a straight road.
No,
Yeah.
no.
There's so many different, let me stop, because that's one that was big. But anyways,
But the thing is, though, just to snowball off of that, the narrow road doesn't allow experience. So people are like lost when they're adults, and when they're trying to get into their own business, they're doing all of these things and wasting their money on learning things, and it has nothing to do with what they're about to get into. You need real world experience.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't take away any of the types of experiences I had, but trying to raise a child and get all of these things done, it's
not
really
easy,
forced you. It
and
really forces somebody to figure things out, right?
You have a fan over there.
Yeah, no, figure things out. But I'm so grateful because she's such a good kid, never gave me any issues or anything like that, and I was always transparent with her.
Shout out, Nene.
So we grew up like best friends. So what I love about her is she respects the line, knows that I'm hustling, but she also knows that I will always have time for her. And figure out that balance. And she's open with me, talks to me, and does all of those things. And I know a lot of parents wish their kids,
and even doing what you do, it allows you for more time to take her to Trinidad, to take her to England, to take her wherever y'all go, and have that time. Man, that's amazing.
The flexibility, it's needed. She needs to access me. I don't want to cut her off because I'm hustling. I need to make sure she's inclusive in everything. So that's what I was doing when I was doing all of my businesses. I had a video production business as well. She was behind the camera with me. I'm teaching her things. She knows all of the clients. She's checking people in auditions. This is her at like 6'7". So
real Jamaican, just have pure businesses.
Listen, you gotta figure it out. And then when you hit the niche, it's skyrocket after that.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out what you're good at.
No, I fully get it.
Push and push. And I feel like you've been there 90% of the time.
Yeah,
I know. Shout out Morningstar Printing. All right. Anyways, I'm doing a lot of shout outs today. Anyways.
Yeah, you are.
But
no, that's a good story. I mean, like, obviously, well, not obviously, and I won't even say unfortunately, but I relate. So with your daughter and having to, how are you managing? Because you mentioned you didn't finish high school. I know your daughter's high school age now.
Right.
So the pandemic, I guess, is allowing you to travel with her and keep her really close when you're doing all this stuff. Like, how is that working out for you?
Well, I think it's better that we're traveling and going about, so we're able to see different things.
Yeah.
I felt like growing up in Scarborough, the friends that I had were not exposed to the world. We all just knew Scarborough, and that was it. Maybe downtown Toronto, and we're cool after that. So we're cool in Toronto, knowing what's happening downtown, and that's the farthest we go.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. And when I was sitting and thinking about my business, I'm like, how can I access the world and also work? How are we going to do this? So I figured out the balance. I'm like, okay, if I go to this country, I still need to have a schedule, but we can also explore a country. Yeah. Just like it's, after 5 p.m. and I come home from work, we can still do that in other countries.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be exposed. I never traveled when I was young. So I feel like it's opened her eyes so much more. She's
going to appreciate that.
She loves the places we go to.
She's going to appreciate
sees
that.
things. So it's nice to see that she loves the exposure.
Yeah. There's a balance between like the classroom education and the real world education, you know? So she seems to be getting that. That's good.
All right. So just before we go, just make sure you like, follow, subscribe, comment, please. It helps the algorithm. This unknown algorithm that YouTube has.
Listen, algorithm's like important.
Exactly. We're going to talk after. We're going to talk about some of these algorithms. But thank you. But before we go, do you have any advice for anybody watching this that is looking at making that transition from a full-time employment to entrepreneurship?
I would like to say there's space for all of us. What you're going to do is not what the second person is going to do, because your individualism comes with that business. So don't doubt yourself, even if you stumble the first business, maybe even the second business, or the things you do within it. it's not going to stop you. That shouldn't stop you anyway, but you have to be motivated. Hold a piece of motivation. If you don't have a kid, if you don't have, you know, a sick parent, things like that.
Find a why.
Yes, figure it out. Yeah, figure out the why. Yes, to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to keep going no matter what. Nothing's going to stop me. So again, space for all of us, and figure out where your space lies and sit at the table you need to.
Jeez, sit at that table.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy jet setting schedule
I know,
to,
she probably has to fly out right after here to Dubai or something.
Yeah. To have a conversation with us. It's been really enlightening. And, you know, I know a lot of people need to hear a different side of entrepreneurship. Like, a lot of people talk about school and things like that. And I love that you were able to share that was something that, you know, was... what's the word I'm looking for?
Enlighten.
Anyways, that was something that you dealt with in your past that you didn't do with school. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. It was great having you. It was great meeting you. And, you know, thank you.
All the best. You'll be seeing her contact information under the video or on any social media we do. Make sure you get at her, because she could probably get done whatever you need to get done, business owners. So,
we got you.
Okay? All right. Thank you. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Till next time. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.